Start working here in a minute. Amazing how what you can do when you don't know what you're doing. You know,
Yes.
I've always been a proponent. I guess they used to call me a button pusher. So when I spent all those years working with SAP, and you know, you did had very little, you know, very well some training, but you spent
No.
quite a bit of time just trying to figure things out. So I became a button masher, just to kind of roll with the punches. So I'll do the same here on the Wednesday night live show. We want to thank everybody for joining the show. You'll notice that we are Sans, our leader, our chief commentator. We have no idea where he is, to be quite honest with you. We think he's sleeping. He could be out at the local convenience store putting his finger in all of the Hostess cupcakes to test for freshness. If you know
That's
John,
it.
you
That's
know
it.
That's it.
you know that that's a true story. So I'm not making things up on the fly. We have Sir Charles Gardner with us on the show tonight to help us commentate on the subject matter of the U.S. Leaving the WHO. Could be good, could be bad, could be otherwise, but I'm sure Charles has lots of opinions on that. But before we get to that part of the show, so we apologize for being late. Better late than never. I think it was what Robert Lawyer that said that was reading the background chat. Let's check in with our wonderful co-hosts, I being one of them as well. I'm not going to call myself the host, but Peggy, how are you today and how has your week been?
We're good. I guess so. Yes. We're good. We had an attempted break-in this weekend.
Yes, you know what?
No.
We may
Can you bring that up?
attempt. I believe I can
Oh,
share the video. Everyone, if you would like to see the attempted break-in at Peggy's
That
vape
was at
shop.
your place?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's for
I
real.
did
Yeah.
not know that. Oh my God. Okay.
all right. I may have to play this from a link, so hold on one second. Oh, it's from YouTube, so bear with me. Let me put the
Oh, yes,
sucker
I
in.
put it up there.
Let me put it in pause. All right, we're gonna present. We're gonna do share screen. We're gonna go to the video is called Glassman.
Yes.
It'll be self-explanatory here in a minute. I don't know if everybody can see that. Let's all enjoy the video for a minute. Peggy, if you want to commentate on exactly who he is, what he was doing, what his intentions were. I think we all know what his intentions were, but I'll just play the video.
Yes, this was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night, maybe?
Is he vaping?
Nope.
No, he's holding his hoodie shut, so he isn't identified.
Yeah. And he's trying to get in.
Did you ever catch him?
Yeah. One more
Good.
time.
So he's just an idiot.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
anybody who
experiencing-
does this.
Is that a cat in the video?
Yes, that was Wicked running away. Yes.
Wicked is hiding under the bench right now.
Yes. And
I
he
don't
kept
blame him.
There he goes. There goes Wicked.
Her-
So what
Yeah.
my question is, what in the hell is your glass made of that this guy could not throw a stone about the size of a football through the glass?
that's what came with the building. And I guess it's South Central Florida, so it has to be hurricane proof. And yeah,
I
he
don't
does
know.
this for like 2.5 hours.
Oh my
happened for-
gosh.
That happened for 2.5 hours.
Yes.
Well, let's just all sit
See?
back and watch that.
And we shortened it up for you. And then he makes one more trip with a hoe. He walks all the way home, and 12 minutes later, he comes back with a garden hoe.
And it didn't
Good
help,
deal.
obviously.
No, it didn't help.
Well, the good
Serves
news.
him right.
Yeah.
And then by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I guess he was tired and people were starting to come in, so he got run off.
I was actually just more shocked at the fact that not only I mean, well, I'm glad he was unsuccessul, but the fact that the parking lot was so well lit, like he was
We have
still
an
taking his
ATM right
chances.
next door. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
he's
Chase.
extremely bright then.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And he came back yesterday. It continues. He come back yesterday. One of the little old lady customers comes in. She says, "Can you walk me back to the car? There's somebody sketchy out there." So she goes and walks him out to the car, and there he is, being sketchy, trying to break into her car.
Oh
I-
my gosh.
I thought that you had said that he came back scoping cars and the cops did nab him.
Yes, and then we babysat him until the sheriff showed up, and they took him away. He's
Was he
15.
was he mentally
15.
ill or was
No,
he
he's
was just bored?
dumb. Yeah.
Okay, so just
Well.
to be serious here, 2% of the American population is in prison right now, in the land of the free, and if you check their IQs,
That's fair.
people who get caught are not. They're in the shallow end of the deep
Gotcha.
of the swimming pool. Yeah,
Right.
Yes, they're smokers too.
and the people who are smart, they don't get caught.
Correct.
I got caught.
Well, anyway, needless to say,
So that
that's
was my
interesting.
week.
I hope,
Yes.
yeah, that was your week. Is watching a 15-year-old tank his future and any potential for a career. And as well noted, he is one sandwich short of a full picnic basket. So
Wait, so was he really like 15?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. 'Cause
That's a
this- this-
shame.
It is. It's really sad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
when I was 15, I wasn't.
I
I
was-
wasn't out by myself either.
I hardly broke into any stores or burned down any famous public
Just a
buildings.
little, just a little.
Not by myself. I was with my friends or something,
You know, what's the shame is I bet you anything. Was that kid drunk or was he on something else? He was just
Not
plain
to keep
bored.
doing it for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a long attention span.
I really thought
Yeah,
when
I
I
gotta
watched
hand it
it
to him.
originally, I thought it was just somebody who'd been out drinking and wanted a vape or, something from your
Hey,
store.
if-
And
If
I
at
get
first-
it, I mean, it's
first
not
you
right,
don't
but
succeed.
Yeah.
what was that, Charles?
If at first you don't succeed, right?
That's
So he's
true.
persistent.
Yes.
Got to
You gotta
give
give
him
that to
good marks for persistence. But I'll give him even
Yes.
better marks for failure because I would have hated to have seen the glass crash. But anyway, let's move over to Michelle. Michelle, how has your week been? Are you freezing in Florida? That's what we all want to know.
No. But it was really cold yesterday. It was 27 degrees and I live in the Panhandle part of Florida. It was 27 degrees. And it was
Good gravy.
cold. I mean,
Not bad.
cold like it was blowing, So y'all quit wishing it on me.
It's even colder here.
It's all right.
I
We'll send it
know,
back.
I know. But I've been up where you are, not where you are, but laterally there. And no, that's why I'm down here again, Charles.
Wise move.
I don't
Yes.
like cold weather. Not for
Nor-
me.
Nor do
But
I.
it's been a tough week, but making it. I'm making it.
Well,
With a
that's what
smile
counts.
on.
That's what
There you
counts.
go.
Chest out, head up, chin forward.
Yeah.
And grab a
That's
glass.
exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
But it's interesting, and I like it. I like it.
Good.
So,
Well, you got to
yeah.
keep it interesting. Charles,
Yeah.
how has your week been, good sir?
Actually, surprisingly good. So I seem to have a lot of pots in the fire now,
Good.
and in terms of potential consulting work, and so which might be able to do some real good, and I'll be excited by that. So just kind of waiting to see how the dust settles.
Absolutely. Well, no, opportunity is always positive. So I think we're all always looking forward to the future. So my week, looking forward into the future. My week's actually been very uneventful. We haven't had much going on at all. This weekend we made it through. We didn't have much going on. This weekend, full hand. So we got a wine tasting tomorrow. Friday night, the wife and I have taken an interest to, I don't know why, I guess they classify it as professional. It's not what I view as professional, but we're going out Friday night to a local bar here called the Diesel Tap House for professional wrestling. Actually, I'm not so much as interested in the wrestling piece of it as I'm more interested to try to figure out how they're going to put an actual ring inside this bar, because it's not like dwarf wrestling. This is like full grown men, so and women, I assume. So we're gonna see how that all plays out. It's only 5 minutes away, so, and it was $20 a ticket, so
Ah,
it,
a
it should
cheap
be a fun
weekend.
experience. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Good.
And
you'll get
then
your giggles out of it.
yes, and then Saturday we're going to a concert here locally. But the week has been pretty much filled with appointments and things like that, and so we did have to make one trip to the dentist, not for myself, but for my wife. She had to get a couple fillings done. But the doctor came out and said he wanted to take a look at me, and he said, "Open up and say ah." And I'm like, what do you need to do that for? And he said, you know what he said when I asked him the question? He said, "Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live fail to break into your vape shop edition of the show."
There you go. Yes.
Yep, let's see who's out here in the chat real quick, and then we'll move on to the WHO article. It's weird. StreamYard is in the chat. I've never seen StreamYard in the chat, but StreamYard is in the chat. Actually, that's just them. So anyway, I'm joking. We got Robert, not on a billboard, lawyer in the house. Good to see you, Robert. Welcome to the show. Who else? We got Don, the Shirako Ayako, in the house. Great to see you, Don. Welcome to the show. We got Steve, Emoji King Tottenham, in the house. Good to see you, Steve. And then we got Jeff, Danny boy, in the house. Good to see you, Jeff. Welcome back to the show. Who do we? Oh, we got Aristotle Socrates
Yes.
Nunez in the house. Aristotle, I will not sing the song tonight. I will spare you the agony.
Thank you.
Trying to keep the things moving along. Who else we got in here? We got Maddie Van Dam in the house. Maddie, good to see you. Actually, so Maddie's middle name is Maddie Jean-Claude Van Damme in the house.
There you go. Yeah.
We got James, the resident pirate. James, our resident pirate. James R is in the house. Good to see you. We got Becky Leopard stepping over from the Friday Night BS show. She snuck in. I asked Becky if she has John's number to go ahead and pester him while he's trying to see if he can't wake him from his slumber. But that's it. We got 16 people watching. Chime in, share your comments, share your thoughts, ask questions. Charles is here if you got any questions for Charles on anything he commentates on. But let's I actually am going to go verbatim here. John has been very acute at writing show notes, so
Yes.
I'm going to read his intro as though John were here. I don't speak like him, but he said, "All right. So big headline making news. The United States officially exits the World Health Organization. People are cheering. People are panicking. But today we want to talk about one angle, and that has gotten much airtime: vaping. Leaving the WHO doesn't magically fix vaping, but it does reopen conversations that were basically shut down. And honestly, that might be the biggest win." I did question that. That was probably the first thing that popped into my mind when I saw the article come up, because I know that a lot of the vaping regulation, or at least the recommendation, and a lot of the negativity sourced from the WHO. So with the United States leaving the organization itself, it'll be interesting to hear the opinions, especially from Charles, on what he thinks this means overall, but maybe more specifically how it may or may not affect the vaping cause. So we did the How's Your Week? We did all that. Okay, so so let's start with this. I'm going to read some questions. Anybody's free to jump in here, but these would be the controversial questions. So I'll ask each question and then let everybody comment on their thoughts or opinions on this. All right, so did the WHO ever actually help smokers quit, or did they just punish abstinence knowing people would fail?
I have a very strong opinion on that.
Very good. We'd love to hear it.
And So, I mean, this is the reason that I avoided tobacco control for 25 years, for most of my career. I was working in global health. I served as a senior advisor to the World Health Organization for 3 years and worked with very admirable people who were focused on child health and infectious diseases and preventing them, obviously, and intestinal worms in children. And, the World Health Organization has done some incredible things like eliminating smallpox. Kind of a good thing because it's actually the disease that's the biggest killer on earth. But I avoided tobacco control because, and I'm not a libertarian, I'm actually a bleeding heart liberal. But as far as I could see, the only health interventions available that the World Health Organization had to promote were stigma and coercion. Both of which I used to teach healthcare ethics to medical students, both of which are profoundly unethical.
Yeah.
So you can ask though, do they work? Right? The stigma is there to discourage smoking. Yeah, it kind of works. It does work. And the coercion is in the form of sin taxes and bans, so like indoor smoking bans, and even now outdoor smoking bans, and and all the fluff that they want, like gruesome images on cigarette packs and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But that stuff, like, it does work, but kind of only at the margins. Plus, the sin taxes create a massive illicit market if you jack them up too high, as we've seen in Australia. And so this, like, it already seemed like a field that was off the rails to me. But have they saved some lives in tobacco control? I would say yes. It's just where they are now is completely off the rails.
Right. Yeah, because it felt to me as though there was, I don't know. It seems like so many different organizations flip-flopped on the subject of vaping. Did the WHO always maintain a consistent opinion about vaping? Were they ever, I don't want to say were they ever pro-vaping, but were they agnostic to it? Were they accepting of it? Did they think that it had some place in with THR, or did they just vehemently come right out of the gate and was like, no, vaping's bad, and then we need to push that?
Or they'd prefer to give them a drug to replace it instead.
Yeah. So the big pharma solutions are the preferred health intervention. So nicotine patches, nicotine gum, varenicline, which in the United States is called Chantix, and in Europe is called Champix for some reason. And they love those. And in fact, nicotine patches and nicotine gum are they're almost grudgingly on the World Health Organization's essential medicines list now. Which happened surprisingly only recently. I forget what year that was, but it's within the past 10 years or something.
Yeah.
That should have been a no-brainer, but they're not very effective. If you try to quit cold turkey, your chance of success is 5%. And if you use a nicotine patch or nicotine gum, it's 9%. This is like 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 people still fail. This is not an effective health intervention. But they love those and even put them on their essential medicines list, which is like, this is their standard advice to, especially to low and middle income countries that often they don't have, their tobacco control staff are super thin on the ground.
Right.
And so they listen to the World Health Organization. So did they actually, what was the question?
So it was the general question was, did the WHO ever actually help smokers quit, or did they just
but did they ever support vaping? And not to my
Oh,
knowledge.
that question, yeah.
But it's like, I mean, it's carved in stone in the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. This is like their received wisdom. This 25 years old, first global health treaty ever, and the definition of tobacco control includes harm reduction.
Right.
But for years now, the World Health Organization has adopted a policy that equates harm reduction with industry interference. And so although it's in the definition of what they're supposed to be doing, it's rejected, and anyone who promotes it must be in the pocket of
Big tobacco.
Yeah, right. So like it's really weird and conflicted. But I think the best answer to your question would come if someone could do a careful analysis of their position on harm reduction and e-cigarettes before and after they started receiving millions and millions of dollars from Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah. Follow the money, they say, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't even know when that started.
But if Bloomberg will fund all the medicine and he'll drop a trunk full of medicine in the middle of the country somewhere and he'll throw some nicotine patches in there that's, owned by one of his companies, what the hell?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his head. I wish I did, but I do know that ever since they started receiving all these millions of, actually most of the World Health Organization's funding for tobacco control comes from this one U.S. billionaire right now.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that would be like letting a U.S. billionaire anti-vaxxer fund all of their immunization work. Might not be wise. In fact, it would cause every investigative journalist's heads to explode.
We hope.
Happened. And, like, that would obviously be wrong. But what's happening right now is okay.
Yeah. They've just always seemed to be so anti-vaping, and I believe there's other things at stake as to why the U.S. left that particular conglomerate.
Yeah, no, tobacco control has nothing to do with what the U.S.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not. It's just a blip on the radar. But to Swiss Vapor's commentary, he said vaping industry here in Switzerland still stable, but the disposables are a true problem. Well, I think that's kind of shared in a lot of different areas. I think we all have opinions on the disposables. What did you mean by the disposables are a true problem in terms of ecological issues? Did you mean that it's a problem with the kids? Do you mean that problem with getting people hooked and addicted and not vaping and trying to get down off the 50 milligram? Go ahead and throw your comments in there, Swiss Vapor. I'm curious to understand what you meant by the disposables are still a problem. We can comment on that later. All right, question number 2. I don't have it. Charles already answered all the fun questions, so we're not doing the pineapple on pizza questions. He's already been through the ringer on that stuff. Is the WHO anti-vaping because of science or because vaping threatens pharmaceutical nicotine products? Opinions on that, anyone? I think they would like to say their position is because of science.
But it's not.
They're anti-vaping because saying anything else would jeopardize their grants from Mike Bloomberg. That's just flat out. That's what's going on. They do have interactions with Big Pharma. I don't think Big Pharma is as big a player in the health misinfodemic that we're dealing with right now as some people in our community think.
Say that again.
Pardon me. I'm
All right. So some people in our community believe that Big Pharma is, I guess, just as much to blame as Big Tobacco itself
Oh,
and Big Bloomberg for the health misinformation. I kind of don't think Big Pharma has much skin in the game. Like, to them, nicotine patches, nicotine gum, it's just like the sales are like the rounding error to their bean counters. They're very low. And it's not like a game changer at all.
right.
Selling opioids is
So they would rather, you think that they would rather just not necessarily eliminate them, but if they could and it wouldn't affect society, then they would probably eliminate them because it's more of a headache to them.
I think they're probably keenly aware at Big Pharma that nicotine vapes are undermining sales of their nicotine replacement therapies. Like, right? But again, those sales of nicotine replacement therapies, NRTs, like it's almost a niche market. Not many people use them.
No, because everybody knows they don't work. We've all done it before.
Yes.
But I mean, we're dealing with people who, like, for whom, $2 billion in sales is like, it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Compared to what we could make in this other market.
Right.
sure. Yeah, I don't know. My opinion on that would be, I think I have to agree with Charles wholeheartedly that I think that, that they put science in front of it as sort of the scapegoat and say that that's the utilization for which they judge vaping. But again, it's all about the money. And if they were to come out and change position dramatically, especially when they're getting Bloomberg bucks, I think they'd be, kind of looking like fools. So I agree with Charles on that one, that I don't believe it's entirely scientific. I think there's some other motivations there. All right. Question number 3. This one, I read this one already. I don't know. People might have some strong opinions here. Should unelected global health organizations have any influence over U.S. consumer behavior? I think that's an interesting one because we spent so much time allowing a global health organization to dictate how things are dealt with here in the U.S. We have our own government, which can regulate that and decide to make their own decisions, and they have. But we've got these other people halfway across the globe kind of recommending and suggesting how we should behave. So does anybody have an opinion on should unelected global health organizations have any influence over U.S. consumer behavior? Anyone?
Should they? No. Do they? Of course. Social media has changed everything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's true. I mean, but I think the other thing that you have to take a look at is I feel like at least a greater majority of the people who are part of vaping, whether you were someone that picked up vaping, over a decade ago, or even here in the last handful of years as a way to get yourself off of smoking. I think that now there may be some people that blindly went into it when somebody said, hey, pick up vaping, whatever, and people just went and started vaping. They don't really know what they're dealing with. They don't know what's in a vape. They don't know what to choose for a vape. They don't know what the right, format is for them, whatever the right medium might be. But I do think that a lot of people in vaping, we've made some educated decisions on whether or not we chose to pursue it, because we could have been critical thinkers here and said, well, is vaping safer? Is it okay? What am I actually putting in my body? And I think that we all took the time to try to understand, especially people who have been involved with the changes and the minutia about vaping since about 2016 and the deeming regs and how vaping has been treated ever since, especially when you had so many people in the media orbit, and I'm talking about doctors, I'm talking about health organizations, I'm talking about people who can message, had a totally different message 10 to 12 years ago. There were a lot of people who were like, yeah, pick up vaping, it can, help, it'll get you off of cigarettes. It's safer than vape. It's safer than smoking, this, that, and the other. And then there was this dramatic shift where they kind of viewed everything differently. It's like, wait a minute, 1 minute you're over here and now you're over here. But I do think a lot of people in the vaping space understand what we're using, and we all are openly admitting that we understand that putting anything foreign into your system is not necessarily a good thing. But when you compare it to what I was putting into my system before and what it is now, it's a dramatic reduction in the risk that I'm entering into, I'm putting into my system. So I just feel like I think those people that kind of are smarter or a little bit more wise to the aspect of vaping and what it can do and how many lives that we're aware of that it's saved, practically. I mean, we aren't doing the studies ourselves. I think that we're a little bothered by the fact that we have to have these unelected global organizations and these people who don't really know anything about what they're talking about dictating and regulating and telling us what we can and can't do. And so a reduction in the government in that space would be more appreciated to say, let us make some conscious decisions for myself. We're all for some kind of regulation in some way, shape, or form, whether that's, funneling it through adult only stores, maybe, in some cases, maybe eradicating some products that, might cross the line a little bit. I don't think that should be the answer. We're willing to accept some regulation, but also let us be autonomous to make our own decisions as to how we choose to get off of smoking, and then make those decisions down the line. Because a lot of us got off of smoking and we continue to vape. And I think that maybe that's the other big red herring thing that people might look at. Like, well, look, if you pick that up to quit smoking, shouldn't the intention have been to pick that up and then eventually get off of that and then quit altogether? But we continued on with it. And so, people might question us and say, well, it didn't really have the true intention. I kind of look at it more like, well, it's still keeping me from going back to smoking. So maybe that's a cop out. I don't know. But anyway, I feel like less government intervention on that front. Continue the messaging. Don't smoke. Smoking's bad. It can kill you. It can cause cancer. I also think that there should be some messaging around vaping. If you've never vaped, don't pick it up. Things of that nature. And then, of course, try to discourage the kids from getting their hands on it. My opinion, anyway.
Man,
all right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I got a lot of questions.
Rant, man.
I'm gonna take notes.
Go ahead. It's better that you just skip me right now because I'll probably go on for a while.
Well, I didn't realize he had multiple segments of questions, so I'm gonna.
He has a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Was Peggy about to say something there?
No,
it was Michelle was gonna
Michelle
comment.
is.
Okay, like I will weigh in, though I don't want to monopolize any of this, but going back to some of my first comments, I don't think any of the actual good people, evidence-based experts at the World Health Organization, have a clue how far off the rails their tobacco control people are.
Really?
I can tell you, yeah, the people in the infectious disease clusters and child nutrition clusters, they don't think about tobacco. It's like it's like on another planet to them. So they just assume that those guys are just as evidence-based as they are. And some of what you were saying, Timmy, is it reminded me, because in one of my other incarnations, I worked for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for 10 years. And that included under the like Bush Jr. Administration. So Bush Jr. is the president. And the U.S. government was hammering the World Health Organization back then, and they were hammering the WHO to just drop all of this extra stuff it was trying to do and focus on what they called the World Health Organization's normative functions. It's an interesting phrase.
Right.
And what they meant was, this is what you're supposed to be doing, giving advice and guidance and policy priorities for low and middle income countries that don't have the depth of technical expertise to know what to do. And that's not unwise. It was actually, again, I'm not a conservative, but that was not an unwise direction to push the WHO. Hey, John.
Hey,
Sorry, everybody.
Johnny boy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just woke up. I had a hard time sleeping last night and just kept coughing and well, last night I should say this morning.
Well, I'm glad you woke up, and I'm glad you were able to be here, Wes. But wait, we're moving down the questions list.
Good.
Charles was offering some
Yes.
commentary on the WHO and question number 3, which was, should the health organizations have any influence over the U.S.? Did you finish your commentary, Charles?
Yeah, no, I mean, in a nutshell, off the rails.
Off
Right.
the rails.
And again, I go back to a lot of what we know versus what they know, and like you said, I feel like from a larger perspective, they don't really have a full grasp on the diversity of the vaping space. I think they just think that it's just these simplistic devices that potentially could have extremely high levels of nicotine that could addict people or get people not to really or to overuse nicotine and things like that. I think they think very myopically about exactly what it is that people are doing when they vape. It's not about open, closed.
They have
Go
a
ahead.
blanket assumption that people like us are part of industry interference. So that makes it very easy to dismiss anything
You know,
that
hadn't-
smokers say. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I hadn't have quit, I probably would have been part of the industry just because I had bought it by that time, by the time I died, I mean, when you think about it, how much do normal smokers spend in a lifetime on cigarettes and lighters and fluid and, all that kind of stuff?
Oh, by the way, people throw away like nearly 10 times more disposable cigarette lighters than disposable.
Yeah.
Right.
And the funny thing is, disposable vapes prevent cigarette lighters.
Correct.
Nobody thinks that through.
Mhm.
Disposable
They only think as far as it'll help themselves,
All right.
Anyway, next question.
Yeah, so I'm going to skip on down into the next segment because I didn't realize John had several segments here. We're going to touch on FDA and regulations. So we're moving off of the WHO for a hot minute. I think we've covered that topic. But maybe there's a bigger question at hand, and we'll probably ask that question. Let's ask the question now. Opinion, Charles. Do you think that the U.S. leaving the WHO? Do you think that overall that it stands to show any shift in perception of vaping, or where vaping might go from here if in fact the U.S. is controlled by the WHO and their guidance, if that's what you want to call it? Do you think that it'll make any shift or change?
No.
Okay.
No, it won't. It won't. It actually, for them, it only makes the money they're getting from Bloomberg all the more important, and they're even more dependent. It's like heroin in the arms of the people in their tobacco control office, and that's like they have to justify the whatever of his money that they're spending, and all Bloomberg grantees have to. It's like they have to sign a loyalty oath.
I'm assuming.
It's very close to that. I mean, and I know this from people who worked at Bloomberg grantees, and you have to promise to say this and adhere to that, and it's kind of creepy.
He got Swiss. I'm so sorry to hear that. So you got fired because you had to close the shops. That sounds like there's a little bit of unfair pressure there. That seems like that was a double whammy. All right, FDA and regulation. Is the FDA regulating vaping or quietly killing it?
Have you heard of the word clusterfuck before?
Yeah.
All right. So this is one of my mugs,
Yes.
but the other one says DGMS, which means don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're regulating anything. I think it's the latter. I think that's an obvious answer.
Yeah.
WHO, folks. So yeah, no, FDA is, I mean, it's moving in the right direction, sort of, although it's kind of bizarre that they have to debate for a very long time about whether nicotine pouches are safer than cigarettes. Like that's a complete no-brainer. But they're definitely still dragging their feet on nicotine vapes and especially on flavored vapes. I can make no sense of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are feeling the same way.
And they're clearly favoring vape products made by big tobacco.
Oh yeah.
Not entirely. We have to give them that credit, but still.
Well,
That's who they trust, right?
That's who they've been working with for 25 years. It is.
Yeah.
It is, and they sit down and meet with them, right? Which that would make people at the World Health Organization's heads explode. But they sit down and meet with them.
yeah.
And, and the people from the big tobacco companies say, just trust me, son. This is
Yeah.
the right thing to do. It's like a doctor telling you, trust me, honey, just do what I told you to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ask what evidence most influences the WHO's position that flavored vapes poses a greater risk than potential benefit?
Which segment was that in, John? That's
at the very bottom.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
No, I know we're almost out of time, so I want to make sure I get some of these questions.
That's pure Bloomberg, and I think you can trace it back to pure Matt Myers. I think it's Matt Myers who invented this whole weird logic that flavors cause teen vaping, and that if we just prohibit all flavored vapes, that all our teens will just turn into, angelic little children again. Yeah. But also completely, it's like Orwellian, because it ignores the fact that any cigarette flavored / tobacco flavored e-cigarette is just as artificially flavored as a fruit flavor. It's cuckoo. Yeah. It's cuckoo land. And plus the fact that nicotine gum, which is literally a candy, does not come in tobacco flavor, because Big Pharma knows that nobody trying to quit smoking would ever buy it or use it. It's fruit medley flavor. And
why does the WHO often emphasize youth vape data without equally highlighting decline with youth smoking rates?
Wait, can you repeat that?
Yeah, Tim, you know where 4 is? Because I'm about to cough my ass off. You see 4?
So there is
Stop
a
vaping.
Why does the WHO often emphasize youth vaping data without equally highlighting declining youth vaping smoking rates?
Yeah, that's a lie by omission of context. Because they don't want the public to form, the possible notion that these things are acting as product substitutes. They want the public to believe that vaping is a gateway to smoking. So that if that's what you believe, then why would you talk about teen smoking numbers?
Yeah.
It's
Why?
really weird.
Why? Yeah.
If they accept product substitution, they're going to have to go back on 10 years of telling the public all over the world gateway to smoking, and which we know is completely like a ridiculous claim, both for young adults as well as for teens. Right. So they're kind of caught in a lie right now.
Right.
Clusterfuck. Yes.
you see those questions all the way at the bottom?
Yeah, I'm right there. So just tell me what number.
Whatever one you want to say, because I'm gonna hard time.
Okay, well, I think this is an interesting one, and this just may be. I'm curious on the answer on this one. Why does the WHO's stance on vaping differ so sharply from countries like the UK, which actively promote vaping for smoking cessation? Is it that the UK isn't part of the WHO?
I think they are part of WHO, aren't they?
Yeah, they
so
are
that
part
so
of
yeah so that does pose an interesting question. Why is the WHO so much on this side of the line, yet the UK and their studies and their actions speak differently?
But does it make more sense? Sorry, Charles.
No,
But does it
go.
make more sense if the community they're serving, which is obviously a third world Nigerian, I don't know the words, that they can't afford vapes. It ain't gonna happen, and they can't afford vapes. So by telling them that not to smoke, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's like that's who they should be catering to, is those third world countries and the people who run them.
Right. I mean, the thing is, so in low and middle income countries like Nigeria or India or South Africa, some kids are vaping. But if you look at the data, it's all from studies of children, teens in expensive private schools. So they've got people whipped up into like a moral panic over the children of wealthy kids vaping instead of smoking deadly cigarettes. And it boggles my mind like how much crazy talk is coming out of like India and Pakistan, South Africa, Nigeria, about, teen vaping is increasing. And you just if you ask them, well, okay, how do you even know it's increasing? Because your last national survey was 5 years ago. You literally don't know.
Yeah.
And so they're concerned in India about the like a handful of children of wealthy families vaping instead of smoking, and they appear to have absolutely no concern whatsoever for the 4 to 5 times more teens who are smoking deadly biddies, deadly cigarettes. It's appalling. It's so unethical. I have no words for this. And by the way, I used to live in India, so
another one.
I never got to meet him though.
Did you use the bathrooms in India?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. It's a Seinfeld joke. It's a Seinfeld joke.
If you were redesigning the WHO's vaping policy,
I think he
What happened?
froze.
Oh, he froze.
If we were
I froze.
Hey,
I'll
Peggy, oh, go ahead.
I'll reread the question. I read the question while I was glitching there. I was lost in the matrix. If you were redesigning WHO's vaping policy today, what, if anything, would you change based on what we know now? Now, John, before you made it to the show, we read another question about the WHO and sort of their position on vaping. And so I think the general consensus is that if they did change or shift their position on it, that it would dramatically hurt where the money is coming from that funds them. But if you were to redesign the WHO's vaping policy today, what, if anything, would you change based on what we know now?
Peggy, Michelle.
What?
Well, my you know, if I could live in an alternative reality, an altered state, you know, I think that there should be a bit more of a more cautious approach to it, in that I think they should start to recognize that vaping does have a place in harm reduction, and maybe just sit down and try to decide what would be acceptable in their eyes as and not make it pharmaceutical, not in the least. That would be a humongous failure all across the board, but decide what reasonable products make sense in their eyes as legitimate forms of vaping as a method for harm reduction. That's what I would like to see happen.
Well, I want to go ahead and ask Sir Charles. Sir Charles, a real quick question, real quick. I know you're not there. I know you're not sitting in these rooms with these people. But what influence does other nations have? Who's actually sitting there in those rooms making these decisions for the WHO? Are they having representatives from each country that's actually, you know, pouring money into the WHO, or is it a group of individuals that are already in charge? Are they letting other people come in and sit down and have these discussions on what the benefits of vaping are and how they have benefit, say, the UK? Does the UK get a seat on the board where they get to come in and say, hey, maybe we need to reevaluate some of these laws that we are pushing, that the WHO is pushing, and take another look at this? That's what I'm wondering. We don't get to see what's going on behind the doors. So I was always wondering, do these countries that are pouring money into the WHO have a seat when it comes to making these policies? I know you're not there physically or ever been involved in that situation, but what's your take on it? Who's there?
So, like, okay, it is unknowable, but what we do know is that countries that have actually embraced harm reduction and actively promote harm reduction tools like vapes for adults who smoke, like the UK and New Zealand, or in Sweden, for example, with snus. Their delegates are remarkably quiet when they go to the FCTC COP meetings. And I can't figure that one out, because like you should be standing up and saying this is what our country thinks. Yeah. And it seems to completely contradict what the World Health Organization thinks and what the FCT Secretariat thinks. I don't understand that actually at all. It's a puzzle to me. I fall back on like, okay, if we could magically change WHO policies, I would start with asking why the World Health Organization it's literally saying that nicotine vapes or e-cigarettes are designed to kill and designed to lure teens. But what they're saying, and a bunch of other garbage, is diametrically opposed by 15 past presidents of the Society for Research on Nicotine and Tobacco, the world's top professional society in the field of tobacco control.
Yes.
And like, look, so obviously there are two schools of thought on this, and the WHO doesn't even acknowledge that there is a difference of opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something is seriously off the rails there.
Yeah. For me, like, I look at the countries that I think in my head are actually supplying money to the WHO, and those are your big dogs: us, the UK, India, China. I don't know. China's not part of the WHO. I don't think they're ever been. Are they? I don't know. Are they? Are they? Well, even better, China as well. And you start looking at their anti-vaping policies that they have. These are the US's policy, China's policy. I think vaping is completely out of the picture there, correct? I mean, if you have a vape, you've got it illegally as well in China.
I don't know.
I think so.
I think e-cigarettes are legal in China.
Are they? Taiwan? No, right? Taiwan is a no-no.
Yeah, I think they're legal in Taiwan. They're not legal in Thailand, the other tea country.
Yeah.
They're not. They're illegal in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And you know, the WHO applauds every country that prohibits them.
Yeah.
And leaves deadly cigarettes available on every street corner.
Well, yeah, it's exactly like lab workers talking about there. China's tobacco industry controlled by the government. So what I'm getting at is these are countries that are anti-vaping are also countries that have higher smoking rates and depend on big tobacco to fund roadways, buildings, you name it. And for me, I almost feel like even if even as strong as the U.S. is, even if our policy was accepting of the vaping industry, I still think that the WHO their policy would still be the same no matter what. Is that pretty accurate?
I
think so.
None of this is rational.
No.
Peggy, you were about to say something?
I'm just agreeing because I thought it was common sense, and it's just been going on for so long.
All right, China's state-owned tobacco company supposedly makes 50% of all the cigarettes on Earth.
Yeah.
And 50% of Chinese men smoke. 30% of Chinese physicians smoke.
Wow.
They have smoking lounges in Chinese hospitals.
Yeah.
Vietnam has a state-owned tobacco company. Thailand has a state-owned tobacco company. India has a partially state-owned tobacco company. It's hard not to wonder about the perverse incentives that owning and having a stake in government revenue from state-owned enterprises like that might sway policies. And yet all of those countries' delegates to the FCTC COP meetings are welcomed with open arms. And, you know, like, go figure, it makes absolutely no sense. And whereas people like us or people who work in organizations that are focused on tobacco harm reduction, their requests for permission to attend those biennial meetings are always rejected. So they admit nonprofits from Bloomberg funded organizations and reject the actual people who are affected by the
with the
decisions
actual,
that they're supposedly making.
yeah.
Thing is, I think
science.
more and more people and countries are just ignoring what they say.
Yep.
Right.
Does anybody know the exact number of countries that have gone the other way from WHO? I mean, isn't it like 12 or 17 or something countries that now look the other way from WHO and their direction? Does anybody know that number?
I've heard the rumors. I do not know.
Okay.
No, I mean, the numbers I have off the top of my head are from the US,
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
UK, New Zealand,
New Zealand.
to some extent Australia, though their numbers are completely contradictory.
Yeah.
And
Switzerland.
I don't know those numbers.
Belgium. Isn't it Belgium? That's another one that's looked the other way from WHO?
Could be. Let's see. I mean, the Netherlands has totally embraced flavor.
Yeah.
bans.
Yeah,
Flavor-
according to the Globe Tobacco Control data, around 60 countries currently have no vaping laws, including but not limited to Angola. There's just a whole list of weird names that I've never seen before. Central Africa Republic, Chad. Where's Chad? I know I've heard that before.
Africa. I think it's on the other side.
That's my family nickname. It's just
Chad.
it is just south of Libya.
But
And
you
by
know,
the
if
way,
that's who they're catering to, then it's okay, I think.
yeah, the word Chad, if you search for it etymologically, it means warlike.
More like.
We're like, huh?
Yeah.
So it's basically every country that Trump would call a shithole country. has
Albania.
shithole country. They haven't bothered to make policies on tobacco harm reduction.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's interesting. Lebanon seems to be welcoming nicotine pouches, and they seem to be making a pretty big difference. And if you look at all the countries in the Levant, they have unbelievably high smoking rates and high smoking related deaths.
Yes.
Argentina, Brazil, India, Mexico, Singapore, Thailand, Turkey, where is it? Uganda and Venezuela, and others may be subject to change over time. Yeah, those are countries that have bans or extreme restrictions on vaping, and it's a big list. It is a big list.
It's a big list.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's a.
You'll get my blood pressure going again. Stop it.
It's nearly 40 countries.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere it's like that's 25 or 30% of the global population where these safer products are legally banned, but in most of those countries they just have a huge illicit market, even in Mexico. In Mexico, this is written into their constitution.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to ask you that question. Are there, that's why I asked you that question, I should say, is are these countries, are these representatives that are actually getting a seat at the WHO and influencing policy for other countries? And that's what I don't get. I would like to know who at the WHO is sitting there, making this policy. Is it four guys? Is it a representative from Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Singapore, India that are getting to sit there and try to come up with policies that are going to affect everyone in the world? Or do they already have enough influence and power there at the WHO where they don't even need to be there to influence policy that the WHO is pushing forward on the rest of the world?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to know. I love to know who's in that room, who's in there that decided to make this policy, who was in there that said, I don't care whether vaping is helping reducing cancer and helping people quit smoking. This is our policy, and this is what we're going to push. I would love to know who's in that room.
I can only guess. My impression is
billionaires.
I
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to go that route, but I almost feel like that's who's in that room. Not countries, but billionaires.
The way it seems to me, and I'm just making this up as I go along, is that the people who work in tobacco control at the WHO, they know they're probably stuck in some dusty offices in the corner somewhere, and they probably defer a lot to the experts in the framework in the FCTC Secretariat, Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. And that secretariat is funded by Bloomberg Philanthropies. Yeah. And so it's like this unholy alliance or something. If only, like, even honestly, if you go back to the CDC, I can tell you the people I worked with at the CDC are some of the most admirable scientists and experts, absolutely like laser focused on evidence, that I've ever met in my life. And I think most of CDC has no idea how far off the rails their office on smoking and health was. And it's sort of the same thing. It looks like everybody's looking the other way.
Yeah.
While like crazy eugenicists are plotting the next Holocaust.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we almost get the sense that, and even you, I think you stated it earlier, that, you know, a lot of these people, that they don't get a chance to actually present the evidence that they have that shows the numbers that, you know, vaping is effective. But you feel like even if someone had all that information, had all that data that they needed to show the WHO that, or even the world itself as a whole, that here, this is working. Look at these numbers. This is the science. This is what's in it. You know, this is what happens when you vape. This is what happens when it's in your lungs. This is what happens when it comes out of your goddamn lungs. But all that data, and just presents that to them, you think we still get the same outcome?
Okay.
I know it's hypothetical.
Okay.
You know,
this is like, it's a broader question. So what we're dealing with is what historian of science Thomas Kuhn called a paradigm shift. Back in the early 60s. And that's like moving from geocentrism, where people thought everything revolves around the Earth, to heliocentrism, where we now know the Earth goes around the sun.
Wait, are you kidding? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no,
I'm just joking.
For real. For real.
I still using the Christopher Columbus theory. You know,
the fact that the sun appears to rise in the east is literally only an illusion.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the opponents that came up to Darwin's theory of natural selection, evolution, these paradigm shifts have always been messy. And there is one interesting sort of case study you could bring up, which is that the World Health Organization did, in the 1980s and 1990s, they still opposed illicit drug harm reduction. That would be like methadone, safe injection sites, safe needle exchange programs, things like that. And they did that until other bodies of the United Nations began pointing out to them that, you know, hey, did you know some countries are executing people who use illicit drugs based on your recommendations?
Yeah.
And then the WHO changed its take on illicit drug harm reduction. So now they kind of embrace it. UNAIDS fully embraces it, like whole hog. They're actually really good, but that's not the WHO. It's a slightly different organization. So, if you want to find examples of where WHO has made mistakes in the past, including like how they handled DDT, so which could have led to a lot of deaths, may have led to a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
But I think it's like nobody there wants to kill people.
No.
Right?
No.
They think what they're doing is right.
Yeah, we don't want to go there. There's a lot of people in history, all the way back to Genghis Khan, and even before that.
I'm sure he was a good man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, great neighbor.
Yeah,
kind to his dog and so on.
What is it? 1 out of every 5 people is an ancestor. Right. Yeah. He was a really, really good person. I'm going to ask you one final question, and with us separating ourselves from that organization, has it changed the way the FDA is going to listen to people outside of their idea or agenda on vaping? Is it going to change anything on our end, not having their influence on the way we should go about? Well, not that we really listen to them anyway, but on their influence on vaping and nicotine patches and nicotine gum and all the rest of the stuff.
Peggy, Michelle.
I don't think so. I don't think the WHO has enough. I don't think enough people in the US have bought into it, have copied and pasted enough of their story to get it. I don't think it'll make a difference.
Everything the FDA has done to us looks like dragging their feet and evidence denial and probably being in the pocket of big tobacco. But from another perspective, in fact, probably from the FDA's perspective, they've been completely contradicting the World Health Organization for half a decade now.
Yeah.
Especially as soon as they started authorizing safer nicotine alternatives as appropriate for the protection of public health, or in some cases, like with snus or nicotine pouches, as modified risk products, which actually allow the maker to tell people who smoke the truth, which
Correct.
is they were previously not allowed to do that, which is this is safer than cigarettes. And it may help you quit smoking.
Yeah.
And so, like, okay, that's good. This is diametrically opposed to the message that the World Health Organization is sending out almost daily in their crazy infographics. So, Charles, is there anything that you can see that would change their mind immediately? What? One thing. The WHO? Uh-huh. No. I didn't think so. I mean, other than money, if we had another donor that would give them money like Bloomberg, but other than that, I don't see any way that they're going to ever change, no matter what the world says. If we put a brain worm in Michael Bloomberg's head,
yeah.
That, or does he have one already? I was thinking, the man is what, 83, 84 now. But when he passes away, God rest his soul, his foundations will continue because they just sit on a big endowment and they keep reinvesting that on the stock market. So in America, foundations are immortal unless you create a spend down foundation. by the way, this is what Gates has decided to do.
Yeah.
So they're just spending down the capital that they have
To zero. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not what the Truth Initiative is doing. They're just sitting on their $1 billion originally, which came from big tobacco and keeping their cushy jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Striking that paycheck. All right, folks. We're gonna end the show. We actually let the show run a little bit longer than usual. I think it was a great topic to continue that conversation. But we did start the show a little late, so I was happy to let the conversation carry on for a bit. But we're gonna go ahead and end it here. So I just want to say thank you to Charles for showing up and offering his opinions. We always love having you on the show, Charles. And I'm sorry, I'm not.
Sir Charles.
It is
Sir
Sir Charles. I'm not as schooled on John's quippy graphics that he throws up in a flash, but I'll get those under my belt here before too long. John, thank you for finally making it to the show. Better late than never. Peggy, thanks for being on the show as always. We love having you here. She's pretty much part of the show now, kids. And sorry you had to put up with that pest 15-year-old who thought he was gonna sneak in. Look at me. I look nothing like myself at all.
Nor did I.
Yeah.
That's much more handsome than I am.
Yeah. And Michelle, always thank you for being here tonight and offering your insight. So I'm going to read what John wrote. And he said, and that's where we're going to leave it tonight. Whether you agree or disagree, the reality is this. Vaping isn't just a headline or a talking point. It's about adults trying to quit smoking, small businesses trying to survive, and policies that should be driven by science and not fear. The U.S. leaving the WHO doesn't fix everything, but it might open the door to conversations that were shut down for way too long. Keep questioning, keep doing your homework, and don't let anyone tell you the debate is over. I think those are excellent words to end the show on. So thank you. Nobel Peace Prize for John. Nobel Peace Prize. For
Hey,
John.
give it to me. No, it comes with $1 million. It comes with $1 million, guys. I'll take that.
Just take it from Trump.
Exactly. Yeah. But thanks again, everybody in chat, for being on the show. We love you guys. We're so happy to have you here every week. Thanks for chiming in and offering your opinions, asking questions. And that'll be it until next Wednesday, when we're back for another unspecified version of the Wednesday Night Live show. And we will see you then. So as John says, everybody take a look in the camera. Everybody take a look at the camera and say good night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Do you want me to end it or you end it?
It's going. I think it's going. Hold on.
Yeah, it takes a second.